Great. Welcome, everybody, to this special meeting of the Board of Directors of the Yampa Valley Housing Authority being held on Tuesday, May 27th. Thank you for being here in person and online. And we will go ahead and open ourselves up for any comments from the public. You're online. The online is. Bob, do you have any comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I will close public comment and I will open it up to board member comment for items that are not on today's agenda.
Comment request? Yeah. I was wondering if for our Zoom meeting, if it adds a bit of time, we could Clark either zooming in with Brad, just give us an update on how the community builder process is going. It sounds like some of the original processes have evolved a bit, just so we can all hear about it. So we can continue to do everything we can to support this process. Is that okay with the rest of the board if we do that? Does everyone like that idea?
Now, at the June meeting, are we gonna talk about the demand study? Yeah.
No, that's not currently planned to be on the agenda for the June board meeting.
It feels like that, and then there's not a lot of board meetings members in the room. But thank you, everyone.
Yes, I like to.
It would be a Zoom, so it's fine.
So just a quick update.
Just like an update so we can ask questions, because as I said, it sounds like things have evolved a bit. So we all understand.
Sure.
When are we expecting to get information on the demand study? Is that looking more like August?
No, So the consultant UPS is going to present to the DST on June 4th. Some preliminary information mostly on demographics and the housing market. And we'll be sure to send that information to the YVHA board, city council, county commissioners, so everyone has the same information at the same time. And then the final study is, I'm working on this right now. But we anticipate the final study will be ready the first week of July. And we're working on how we're going to present that in early July. So I would anticipate it like being ready maybe the end of the first week of July.
So I thought we were gonna have our July board meeting. Was that the plan?
I am working through the best way to present that to both the YVHA board and city council.
Just to add a little bit more color to that, we think that there's probably a couple of venues where we want to have the consultant team actually do the presentation. And our board, it might be just our staff, Emily, doing the presentation of what the end product is. Primarily because you just get more engagement at, say, a city council meeting or a DST meeting. And we want that information to be broadly understood. And so, in the scope that we have with them, I think we have 2 public presentations. And so we're trying to be strategic as to when we utilize those.
Gotcha.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, I think also, as long as there's a good opportunity for board members to ask questions, but I'm guessing Emily and staff will be able to answer those.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, I don't have more details. It's just that it's not confirmed yet. But we were looking at doing it, if we were to use our sort of second public presentation, as Jason mentioned, at a city council meeting, it would be a work session. But I'm working with the city staff on them.
Emily, can you ensure that city council gets that preliminary demand study no later than the DST gets it?
Yes.
The same with the board, yeah. And we could have a joint meeting when they're presenting it in the work session too. If they want to kill 2 birds. That's also thought, have a joint session of housing authority, city council while they present it.
Okay, just for clarification, that what's gonna be presented to the DST is not the entirety
No.
of the demand report.
No.
It's just, it's an early out. And it's mostly on the data, Bitcoin.
Yes.
But we heard you, Steve. Yep,
Yes. Okay.
we have made, arrangements to make sure that that happens, so that somebody's like, hey, did you see this? You go, sure did.
That would be refreshing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other board member comments for items that are not on today's? Okay, seeing nobody in the room and no hands online, I'll close board member comment and move to our first agenda item, which is an update on the YVHA Prop 123 down payment assistance program guidelines. Pass it off to Emily. Yes, so this is simply an informational update, not an action item at this time, but we wanted to let the board know that YVHA was awarded just over $500,000 from Florida Division of Housing through Prop 123 to support our down payment assistance program. And part of the requirements for accessing that funds is to have program guidelines that are somewhat different from the program guidelines that we have in our existing and long-standing DPA program. So the grants team, primarily Elizabeth, has been working with the YVHA real estate team to create new program guidelines. And currently they'd be running together, so we have two different programs just because of the primarily because of the income requirements for the Prop 123 program. And also the geographic location where those DPA funds can be deployed is more limited than YVHA's program. So just wanted to let you know that staff is working on that, and you can anticipate seeing program guidelines coming from the board at the next board meeting.
If we have any comments on the red line version, should we do it now or wait till next month?
I think it'd be great to get them now so that we can begin to address them, or maybe we'll maybe over email.
Or just offline?
Yeah, offline would be great.
Okay, I will do that.
The purpose here is just to let you guys know that we're gonna essentially have to create a separate program to funnel this $500,000 because the state has different requirements than ours.
Yeah.
And those, some of those are pretty awesome, like 0% interest loans. Totally cool with that. The others are, there's some affordability requirements, there's
First time home buyer.
it's required for a first time home buyer. All of those types of things are just nuances that are different than our current program. And so it's going to fit portion of buyers, particularly at the Cottonwoods and in other sort of local properties. So it's a great program. Like, we're happy to do it. We just want you guys to be aware of how different it is from our current program.
Is a 10-year required by the state, a 10-year repay, or is that, are we just sticking that with from our, I'll talk to you later.
We proposed 10 years because of the zero interest term. But that's sort of a point for discussion as to most of ours are 15.
I only thought was with the appreciation gap, if they're going to garner enough appreciation over that 10-year period to be able to refinance it. I was actually thinking maybe longer, or not at all, so, but by the way, I like this deal. But anything else, I was talking to you offline.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and any other board members who want to as well, please send them.
And by that 10 years, I think that left out on me. So.
Yeah.
And our IDD, whatever that company we use, I forget the acronym.
Development.
Yeah, we'll just have we'll have a separate contract with them that has all these red lines.
Yes.
So, I assume this is somehow being coordinated with Brad City.
No, not this particular initiative. This is part of YVHA's
Right.
existing DPA program.
What should it be, is my question.
I think our initial program that we currently are utilizing will work closer with the city on for some of those other funds and with the different regulations and guidelines that we can
Yeah, I mean, I
incorporate
guess
more.
not to forecast too much, but it sounds like the city council may have a conversation about uses of STR funds that are kind of programmatic as opposed to individual development support. This at some point this summer, and I think down payment assistance is a good program for them to consider in that period of time. And so we're working with Brad and his team, to figure out, is there a way for STR funds to come in and bolster the current or create another EPA fund that would be accessible to people who, we would create a whole program for some of what's happening here. But that's ultimately a conversation the city has, whether they want to do something like that. If so, we have an existing infrastructure that money could be funneled through to help put that money into work in the community.
We're also talking with the bankers. About facilitating some sort of program. Not so much necessarily, it's not a competition with you. It's just looking at it, can the banking community do anything?
Yeah.
That helps us and also takes it away from us having to do any sort of administration. So it's a very preliminary, just discussion. So I don't know.
And you might look at the company we're using too, that's set up to do this.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We're just turning over as many stones as we can and see what's on there. Just FYI.
You're like, oh, look, a down payment assistance plan.
With the changes of the DPA, do we need to make any amendments to our deed restriction? No,
No, it's a good question though. It's actually this particular down payment fund dovetails really well with the deed restricted property because there is affordability expectation with the down payment funds. And so it's already taken care of with deed restriction. So as opposed to having this sort of like weird temporary deed restriction that you would put on a property.
Anything else on this down payment assistance program? All right, let's move on to our next agenda item, which is resolution 2025-003, which relates to the board forming an inducement resolution for bond financing.
All right, so as some of you are aware, the CAM commissioners allocated 3 years of private activity bond cap to YVHA. This was a couple weeks ago. And so what this resolution does is it is sort of the formal step that would allow any of our expenses that we pay related to the issuance of bonds to be eligible for repayment via those bonds. And so this was drawn up by our bond attorney, Corey Kalanick, who happens to be the same bond attorney that the county's been working with. And so what this will do is it will set us up to execute the documents to transfer the private activity bonds to YVHA, carry those forward to a future year, meaning next year. And then allow us to start sort of bookkeeping expenses towards those bond proceeds. So that's the purpose of this. It's really just step number one in a many step process for us.
Sorry.
Right.
I paid attention on the way there. Now I'm moving.
I've done it for a little bit.
Sorry.
So this is the first step to getting the rehab of Hillside Village Apartments underway, utilizing the 4% tax credit program. One of the kind of good bits of news that's happening at the federal level is that there is some improvements to the tax credit program that are floating through. They might actually get approved.
Yeah, there is. So,
I mean, The one beautiful spot in the big beautiful bill. And what that means is that those private activity bonds will go further for us if that portion of the bill gets passed. And so we may not have to go out scrambling for additional private activity bonds. We may be able to make the project work with just what we have. So, but anyway, this is the first step. Gives us the ability to start bookkeeping expenses against these bond proceeds. And then secondarily, it allows us to take essentially ownership of private activity bonds from the county and carry them forward to the future.
And Jason, can you explain a bit, just a little, just in case the public, or just for clarification, there's really no risk to us on this financial risk on it, right? I mean, this is.
I'm accepting these
Yeah, well,
bonds.
I'm going forward with them to use them to fix up those sites.
No, I mean, in accepting these private activity bonds, it's only the authority to borrow.
Right.
It's not, we're not taking on any bonds or any bond proceeds or anything like that. It just gives us the ability to issue tax exempt bonds. For the essentially the construction loan that would be the rehab of health savings apartments. And so we have not taken on any obligations by doing this. It's just simply a step that we need to take to get resources necessary to finance the project.
Okay, then how are we planning on paying back the construction loan then? How does this work?
Well, this is gonna get into like tax credit 301,
Okay.
Your question, but fundamentally, when you're doing an acquisition rehabilitation, the cost of acquiring the property and the rehab are eligible uses for the tax credit. Now, we're acquiring the property from ourselves. So there's a little bit of like trickery in there, and that we're gonna essentially be getting tax credit equity for a transfer that didn't cost us any money. And then we use that revenue to pay for the actual work we have. And so I don't have a full pro forma on this yet to say what percentage is gonna be, like if we're gonna have to take on additional debt, as an example, or whether there's gonna be proceeds in excess of our costs. I don't know any of these answers. So this is like the first step to getting us to that point.
Okay.
Our next steps are to complete our capital needs assessment on the property. That will tell us what the scope of our rehab budget will be. Need to get an appraisal, will tell us what the transfer price is, even if it's transferring from like this YVHA entity to this YVHA entity. And then thirdly, we need to bring in a tax credit consultant who can help us kind of run all of these scenarios. And Emily's in the process of doing an RFP for that tax credit consultant. We getting on the CNA capital needs assessment and then appraisal as well. We have a $10,000 grant from Enterprise Community Investment that will pay for some of those costs. And after today, assuming we approve this, any expense that we have would be repayable through the bond process.
And this will not jeopardize the subsidies we get through the USDA for the rents.
No, and that's why we're working with Enterprise Community Investment. They have a technical assistance group that's designed specifically to help preserve rental assistance in
Okay.
USDA Section 5
Perfect.
properties. So, yes, we've got the right team together. We just need to add a couple more pieces, and then I think we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, because hopefully the end result is not gonna be more rent increases.
Yeah, I would agree. That would be the best case scenario.
You knew I'd have to ask that, right?
And just to clarify, when Jason was talking about trickery in terms of the acquisition, the tax credit program is set up in order to facilitate these types of rehabs being able to be completed by housing authorities. So the trickery is totally sanctioned and encouraged by the program. If you were not a housing authority, then you do have to have an unrelated purchaser of your asset in order to qualify for tax credits on the project.
Yes. Thank you for-
Just so you know, the trickery is
Process.
process. Yeah. Sanctioned process.
Nobody's going to jail.
That's right.
Correct. It's particularly beneficial for us in this scenario, though, so that we can get tax credit equity that can help pay for the, yeah.
Other questions? Okay. Then I will seek a motion to approve resolution 2025-003, a resolution declaring the intent of the Board of Directors of the Yampa Valley Housing Authority to issue private activity bonds to finance the acquisition, relocation, renovation, and equipping of multifamily residential housing facilities known as Hillside Village Apartments, and authorizing a carry forward allocation.
Motion to approve.
First by Lou.
Second.
Second by Maddie. All those in favor of approving or anything else on this item for the good of the order?
I'm sorry for coming in late. What project was this?
This is for Hillside Village. You have any questions about it? Anything else on this item? Seeing none online and none in the room. All those in favor of approving resolution 2025-003, please indicate with aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, resolution 2025-003 passes unanimously. And now, do you want to move into the executive session, or do you want to talk about anything outside
No.
of the executive session? Okay.
Let's go straight to executive.
All right. I will then seek a motion to move the board into executive session. I need to read this, right, when we move in, to be held in compliance with CRS 24-6-4024E, determining positions that are relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators for the Mid-Valley Partnership.
Moved.
First by Lou,
Second.
second by Mindy. Anything on this before we take a motion to move in? Okay, all those in favor of moving into an executive session to discuss negotiations for the Mid-Valley Partnership, please indicate with aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. We are now in executive session.